Good, happy Monday afternoon, June 8th, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Monday afternoon, so let's begin. First up, COVID-19 in New Hampshire, what you need to know information. Let's take a look at that right now. And here is a look at that information for all of you right now, as you can see. There are 5,043 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 2,793 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 286 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 489 number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 112,466 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. Let's take a look at this current map of New Hampshire right here. These are current cases where COVID-19 are in New Hampshire. Manchester, 345. And these are total cases of COVID-19 in New Hampshire. Manchester, 1303. Now let's take a look at these three charts here. Let's start with the first chart here. New cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations. And in the red are the deaths. Let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases in New Hampshire. In the purple, total current COVID-19 cases. And in the orange, current hospitalizations. Let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases in New Hampshire. In the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, total hospitalizations. In the red, deaths. In the blue, recovered. And now let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases. Female and male of cases. And risk information. Let's take a look at this chart here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. Now let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And again, your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Black Lives Matter rally held across New Hampshire. Peaceful demands for change. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Some work can't stop because our communities need you, which is why we're working to keep you working.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! In the shadow of Laconia City Hall, people from different backgrounds stood side by side, calling for change during a Black Lives Matter rally Sunday afternoon.
It's nice to see all ethnics right here, black, white. Everybody's tired of it. Enough is enough.
The rally then took to city streets as demonstrators marched through downtown before coming to a stop at Rotary Park, where a variety of speakers addressed the group of more than 100.
This can't happen in this country, bro. It can't happen.
At least with all of us, we're all part of the LGBTQ community, and the first Pride was a riot against police brutality led by women of color, and so we're just here to show our solidarity.
Today's rally is just one of several to take place in recent days from the Monadnock region to the North Country and the Seacoast. And in Portsmouth, more than 1,000 people gathered in Market Square to remember George Floyd.
We watched somebody die, and we watched people stand around. We watched the people that are supposed to help us stand around. And that's a bystander effect, and that's a problem. And we need to fix that problem.
At one point, the large crowd knelt for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, the length of time prosecutors say Floyd was pinned to the ground. Organizers say today was also about encouraging people to make the change they wish to see.
If you don't like your police department, you need to get on your police commission. If you want a bail reform bill to go through our Senate, you need to get in Senate. You need to run local representation.
Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Drowning victim 21 was New Hampshire National Guard specialist and mental health worker. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Some work can't stop because our communities need you, which is why we're working to keep you working.
An update to a tragic story out of Canterbury. We've now learned one of the people who drowned there in the Merrimack River last weekend was a specialist in the New Hampshire National Guard. For the past several weeks, 21-year-old Pamela Ann Usanasi has been helping the New Hampshire Food Bank with COVID-19 relief operations. The Plymouth State College senior also worked part-time as a mental health worker at the New Hampshire State Hospital and as an assistant registered nurse at Pleasant View Center in Concord. In a statement, Adjutant General David Michaelides called her a focused and dedicated soldier with a promising future. A 27-year-old man also died in that drowning incident.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Our thoughts and prayers go to her family. Stocks continue to rally on hopes of the economy reopening, with the Dow up 300 points. Stocks rose on Monday, building on the previous week's sharp gains on optimism over the economy reopening. Thousands of mourners expected at George Floyd's viewing in Houston. Let's take a listen to that video from from CNN. Sorry about that, everyone.
Some work can't stop because our communities need you, which is why we're working to keep you working.
10,000 people are expected to line up behind me here at the Fountain of Praise Worship Center in Houston, Texas, to say their final respects to George Floyd. This as protests continue all across the country. The 2 weeks since 46-year-old George Floyd was killed while in police custody have been filled with protests across the United States and inspired similar protests around the world. Tens of thousands of people took to the streets of Washington, D.C. Sunday, including at the newly painted Black Lives Matter Plaza, to call for change.
I think it's necessary that we're in D.C. in the nation's capital speaking loudly against police brutality, against racism, against violence.
Civil rights leaders say they see signs of hope.
These are revolutionary times, like my father said in his time. Revolutionary times mean that systems and people will be changed. So I'm encouraged by what we're seeing all around the world.
And at Saturday's memorial in North Carolina, Floyd's family and friends also say they are hopeful that Floyd's death will have a lasting impact on the country.
There is no way in the world that his life will not change the trajectory of racism from now on.
Today, Floyd comes home to Houston, the city where he grew up, for the third and final memorial service. And that public viewing ends at 6 o'clock local time. And former Vice President and presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is expected to make his way down to Houston, Texas to privately meet with George Floyd's family. In Houston, Texas, I'm Daryl Forges.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Goodbye, everyone.